Good evening and welcome to Nationwide on NTA. I'm Elizabeth Omori. President Muhammadu Buhari has called on Nigerians in the diaspora to support President-elect Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as he takes over the reins of government for sustainable development of the country. This was at a town hall meeting with a selected group of the Nigerian community in the state of Qatar on the margins of the UN Conference on Least Developed Countries in Doha. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo will bring us details of this report in our subsequent bulletin. And President Muhammadu Buhari rejoices with his second-in-command, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, on the occasion of his 66th birthday, today, March 8, 2023. The president equally felicitates with the entire Osinbajo family, wishing them many happy returns as their son, husband and father turns another year in good health and sound mind. President Buhari lauds the sterling service the celebrant has provided to the country as an academic, Attorney General of Lagos State 1997 to 2007 and Vice President 2015 till date. He applauds the skillful way Osinbajo, a pastor with the Redeemed Christian Church of God, has combined scholarship with governance and pastoral work, commending such dedication to the younger generation, whom the number 2 man serves as a torch-bearer to. President Buhari wishes the Vice President and his family joyful celebration and greater grace ahead. In the same vein, President-elect Bola Tinubu congratulates the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, on his 66th birthday. Tinubu hails the leadership of Professor Osinbajo and his professional accomplishments as an erudite lawyer, which have seen him serve successfully as Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice during his administration as Governor of Lagos. He adds that as the Vice President of the country, Professor Osinbajo has partnered very well with President Muhammadu Buhari to deliver progressive initiatives of their party to make life better for Nigerians, especially in areas of massive infrastructural development and life-changing social investment programs. Tinubu wishes the Vice President continuous good health. A bit on electoral matters, the election victory of members-elect in the House of Representatives has been sealed with presentation of certificates of return by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in Abuja. Mie Ogidi brings us details.
A journey of 360 degrees completed by 360 members. INEC giving them the gate pass to the House of Representatives for the 10th National Assembly after getting the endorsement of their constituents. Party and tribal sentiments aside, victory smile and the task of making people-oriented legislations topmost and best of the best is the target.
Working together with colleagues and all that, we will attract the needed development.
For the new president that is coming in, we need to cooperate with him and collaborate with him so that his renewed hope mantra will be actualized to Nigerians.
On a rather motivating note, I met Donatius Matthew, representing Kara Federal Constituency of Kaduna State, the Okada rider from Okada to House of Representatives.
I was an Okada rider before I was appointed as supervisory councillor, after which I contested and won as a councillor. I held various offices politically before getting to this place.
Just a few meters away, I met Chimaobi Sam Atu. His social media account reveals that he was a bus driver before winning the election into the House of Representatives. Unlike Matthew, Chimaobi queries the social media version of his life story.
They say I'm a bus driver. I would say that what they're saying is not true, because they know that I'm going to take my people to where they ought to be. That is why they say I'm a bus driver.
Be that as it may, Providence was kind on them. With the presentation of these certificates of return to members elect in the House of Representatives, National Assembly elections being conducted by the INEC are gradually coming to an end. Gradually, because 46 by-elections will still be conducted, 11 Senates, 35 House of Representatives. From the International Conference Center in Abuja, Mie Ogidi.
To gender matters, today marks another milestone in the calendar of the female gender as the world assesses gains and pains with a view to exploring new ways and techniques to improve the livelihood of women generally. Momso Damian Dati has the special on the journey for Nigerian women so far.
For now, Many believe their voices are only to be heard, but they are not to be seen. Even some jobs were considered exclusively for the men folk, relegating the female gender to the background and kitchen.
I have worked here for 5 years. Any other job provided for me would be better than this. My husband hardly provides for us, so I came here because I need money.
We are talking about 49 to 50% of the population of Nigeria being women. And how can you sit on the table without those people being represented?
But not anymore, as those glass ceilings have now been broken, giving women in Nigeria and other parts of the world wings to fly.
They have integrity, they have energy, they also bring capacity.
We have something that the men don't have. We can stand and wait and patiently see matters to the end.
Governance, engineering, science, technology, at the helm of affairs, women are making their marks. With the likes of Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Amina Mohammed, the newly appointed director G24 Dr. Masha, Asa Brumi, Toby Amushon, and many more. On the political scene, women are daring to aspire for the #1 position in the country and even at state levels. Talking about the likes of Binani in Adamawa, Beatrice in Rivers, in Niger, and many other states.
We need to become a bloc to be reckoned with. And until we do that, we can't expect to be given anything. We have to be able to take it.
Our women have gone on online selling, even women from the grassroots. These are ways, of encouraging our women on commercial basis.
Momso Damien Ati, NTA News.
The digital gender gap comes with massive cost, which has shaved about $1 trillion from the GDP of low and middle income countries. Resident coordinator of the United Nations stated this in Abuja while celebrating the huge cultural, political and socio-economic achievements of Nigerian women. He said women account for nearly half the world's population, but only 259 million women have access to the internet.
Now, one of the many formidable women of this country, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, now heading up the World Trade Organization, once said that, quote, investing in women is smart economics, and investing in girls, catching them upstream, is even smarter economics, end of quote. This is undoubtedly true. Closing the digital gender divide will be smart economics for Nigeria and for its development aspirations. A second area worthy of investment is in digital platforms for women entrepreneurs. These platforms are key to bridging the gender gap in business and the economy. We must, as a next point, promote digital literacy in primary and secondary schools to enhance the employability and skills of young women.
This year's International Women's Day marks an important milestone on continental and global levels in pursuit of gender equality. A statement signed by the chairperson, African Union Commission, Musa Faki Mahamat, says with AU member states having launched the roadmap of the African Women's Decade on Financial and Economic Inclusion 2020 to 2030 and its programmatic flagship, the African Women's Decade calls for innovative and sustainable solutions towards empowerment of African women. This is theme, he says, aligns with several AUC priorities to maximize e-tech dividends for women as means of contributing to women's sustainable development through increased women and girls' equal and effective participation in the technology space. It adds that women, especially the young ones, should bridge the gender digital divide and make themselves relevant in developmental sectors to achieve gender equality in Africa and beyond. For more reports on the International Women's Day, let's join Hingino in Lagos. Happy International Women's Day, Hingino.
On International Women's Day 2023, women around the world are heeding the call to challenge all forms of gender discrimination while raising awareness on eradicating prejudice and seeking more opportunities and inclusiveness. Adeola Komiakere reports.
For ages globally, debates on the place of women in the society have persisted. The issue is often amplified during annual celebrations like International Women's Day. For the year 2023, the theme is a call to embrace equity that will bring about economic and social transformation across the many sectors of the economy.
Women succeeding together is a conversation that we must engage ourselves. How do we move forward? How do we empower the young people?
Creating equity it's creating the right environment to fill the gaps for the other half of the population to be able to effectively and efficiently deliver the value that they carry for the benefit of all.
According to the Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, a situation where women occupy less than 7% legislative positions and fewer representation in other sectors of the Nigerian economy is unacceptable.
Closing gender gaps in key economic sectors in Nigeria could yield additional gains of as high as $22.9 billion or 5.8% of overall GDP annually.
However, to close the gender gap, women consistently engage in dialogues and encourage young women to aspire to leadership positions.
Sometimes you may have to work twice as hard as your counterpart, but think about it as that work, that effort you have put in is going to make it easier for another woman that's coming after you.
As women around the world commemorate International Women's Day, analysts say there is need to reflect on progress made so far, even as they want their voice amplified in the social, political, economic, and cultural spheres. In Lagos, Adeola Komiakere, NTA News.
Now, away from International Women's Day celebration, investigation is underway on the early morning fire outbreak that gutted the Akere Motors spare parts market at Oludiapapa, Ajegunle, Lagos. Lanregbile reports that the affected traders are still salvaging what they could from the rubble.
According to eyewitness accounts, the fire outbreak occurred early in the morning when the traders were not around to halt the inferno.
The federal and the local government and everybody come and call for our help.
Because everything just ended here now. You can see, look at my... Sorry, let the cameraman see. Please, let the cameraman see. This is what I've hustled for 8 to 10 years now.
At the time of filing this report, no confirmation could be made pertaining to the cause of the fire. Meanwhile, the Commissioner of Police, Lagos State Command Idowu Owonwa, in a statement has urged Lagosians to remain calm with the pledge to unravel the true circumstances surrounding the inferno. In Lagos, Larry Peleyi, NTA News.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live.
You join us in Sokoto. 4 governorship candidates in Sokoto State have called on security agencies to ensure that violence and lawlessness do not characterize the forthcoming elections. The candidates made the call at a joint press briefing in Sokoto. Las Abdullahi reports.
The governorship candidates include that of ADP, Dr. Ibrahim Liman, LP, Aminu Omar, NMPP, Senator Omar Dahiru, and SDP, Senator Abubakar Umar Gada. Dr. Ibrahim Liman, who spoke on behalf of the governorship candidates, condemned in strong terms the violence and lawlessness that characterized the presidential and the National Assembly elections in Sokoto State. They called on security agencies to redouble efforts toward ensuring peaceful conduct of the Saturday elections. They cautioned people of the state, especially youth, not to allow themselves to be used by politicians to disrupt the forthcoming governorship and state assembly elections.
You should use every opportunity before you to bring about positive change. Support and vote wisely. And most importantly, shun violence. Avoid intimidation. and never take law into your hands.
They stressed the need for people of Sokoto State to always embrace peace and shun violence in all its ramifications. In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
As part of efforts to mitigate drug abuse and trafficking in Nigeria, the Senate Committee on Drugs and Narcotics, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency Sokoto, and the New Thing International Foundation have organized sensitization campaign for students of Sani Dingyadi Science School, Sokoto. This is aimed at ensuring drug-free society in the spirit of national development. Dalhatu Abdullahi again reports.
The sensitization is aimed at enlightening students and the public on the dangers of drug abuse and trafficking toward ensuring drugs-free society in the spirit of national development. The Chairman Senate Committee on Drugs and Narcotics, Garbasani, represented by Yusuf Nas, said the sensitization campaign is timely as the effects of drug abuse have manifested negatively on the lives of individuals, families, and the nation. He stressed the readiness of the Senate to take proactive measures to arrest the menace in the interest of national development. State Commander NDLEA Sokoto Adamu Muhammad described fighting drug abuse and trafficking in the society as a collective effort, hence the need for all hands to be on deck to fight the ugly trend.
The Senate are trying their possible best to see that the menace of drug abuse is reduced in schools environment. Most especially, the drug abuse affects academic performance in schools.
If you reduce the incidences of drug abuse, you are indirectly reducing the incidences of security challenge that is bedeviling the society today.
Speakers at the event highlighted dangers and effects of drug abuse on the youth and advised parents to be vigilant on their wards for good upbringing. Vice Principal of the school, Aminu Muhammad Bello, appreciated the organizers, saying schools do not inculcate education only, but also character, adding that measures are in place to checkmate students in their conduct for the better. In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
And that's it from this end for now. Nationwide continues with Elizabeth in Abuja.
Thank you so much, Sadia. Back to our International Women's Day reports. In line with the vision of not leaving anyone behind, members of the disability community in the Federal Capital Territory took to the streets to intensify the campaign against gender-based violence. This segment of the nation's population also advocated inclusivity in the digital space. B is a mother of 5 and a businesswoman. She's determined to make life meaningful for herself and children, hence taking part in this walk to make her voice heard in commemoration of the International Women's Day.
We are from Kramaji there. Let's come and check the place that we are living is not good at all for us. Please, anything that we do, they should include it.
Just like Rabi, many across the globe are part of this movement, hoping to address unequal gender power relations, cultural, social, and economic biases, stop sexual and gender-based violence hampering their development in the digital space.
What I expect is that we need this thing because sometimes some of us, they don't have the ability to find food to eat.
We must be deliberate to investing in women and girls with disability in digital and innovative technology.
This year's celebration seeks to amplify issues centered on gender reporting and advance disability, inclusive innovative technology for women with disabilities. In Abuja, Elizabeth. And Police Officers' Wives Association, POWA, has recorded milestones by empowering women to be self-reliant as the world marks the International Women's Day. POWA is reflecting on the sacrifices of wives of police officers in keeping internal security. Francis Form reports.
Is to support our husbands in times of emergencies.
That is the pledge of Police Officers' Wives Association in line with this year's International Women's Day. Here, wives of police officers are observing the day in their own unique way, with placards bearing different inscriptions to reflect the mood of the day.
Happy International Women's embrace equity.
For the wife of the Inspector General of Police, Hajara Al-Khalib Abba, it is a day to celebrate the ingenuity of women folk.
Today has been set aside for you to know the uniqueness in you. We have the professionals, we have the women police, we have the doctors, we have the engineers, we have all the kinds of work you think a man can do, a woman can do it. So we are celebrating all the women. My advice to women is that we should lift one another. Let's lift, like now, if you are the chairperson of wherever you are, lift the lesser ones around you.
With the theme, Embrace Equity, wife of the IGP calls on women to be fair and just to all. Francis from NTA News.
We still have more reports for you on the International Women's Day, but let's pause here as we join Kemi Oshi in Ibadan with some reports from her zone. Hello, Kemi, and happy International Women's Day.
Elizabeth, and a warm welcome to Ibadan. Wife of Oyo State Governor Tamuno Minini Makinde has solicited continued support for Governor Seyi Makinde to consolidate on ensuring dividends of democracy ahead of the governorship election coming up on Saturday. Rofia Adimashan Badmus tells us more.
Wife of Oyo State Governor Tamuno Minini Makinde met with representatives of traders at Aleshinoye Market in Ibadan Southwest local government. The women chanted various songs praising Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde for his numerous achievements in the last 4 years.
This government is our government, belongs to us. So, and we are ready to abide with them and assist this current election to go on smoothly.
In her remarks, Mrs. Makinde thanked the traders for their prayers and support, while she pleaded for the return of her husband as the governor of Oyo State with their vote come Saturday, 11th of March, 2023.
Men, children, access health care with less stress. Seyi cannot do it by himself. He needs other people to do it with him.
Popular OJ and Bodija markets climaxed her train, where she preached the gospel of Omitutun 2.0 to the traders. On her entourage were wives of the deputy governor, secretary to the state government, commissioners, and other political stalwarts in Oyo State. In Ibadan, Rofia and Mashan Badmus, NTA News.
And zero tolerance and decisive action by stakeholders will reduce the practice of female genital mutilation across the country and guide against violation of the girl child's rights, which exposes her to health challenges. This was a unanimous agreement at a sensitization of female genital mutilation in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Omokainde Igbari has the reports.
Resource persons from Oyo State Primary Healthcare Board noted that women and girls who undergo female genital mutilation (FGM) are exposed to different health issues such as pain, shock, excessive bleeding, and death. They gave insight on the achievements of Oyo State government in meeting the United Nations and World Health Organization's targets to end FGM by year 2030.
The practice of female genital cutting in this part of the world initially was around the prevalence of about 66.3. Now we have dropped to 93.1%.
The issue we are talking about is so sensitive and complex. Sensitive because it affects marriages, genital organs, and it affects marriages. And it's complex.
The mother of two shared her experience.
I got married. When I got married, I think that has met happiness in my marriage. But by this time, I started working with my husband. My husband will not enjoy me at all.
While discouraging the practice of FGM in Oyo State, stakeholders urge communities who still subject girls to such practices to desist due to psychological stress they may pass through later in life. In Ibadan, Omokende Igbari, NTA News.
And that's it from Ibadan. Nationwide continues in Abuja with Elizabeth after this break. Stay with us.
loan through Mrs. Umar, who is the desk officer in Calabar South of the National Orientation Agency. I registered through her. Thereafter, I was shortlisted. At first, when I heard about the program, I didn't believe it. I was thinking it was a scam because we've been hearing a thing of this and have been so rampant everywhere. But I was optimistic that it will come to reality. Before now, I was unable to own a stand. Before now, I was able to get a few important ones, and that have been helping me to work, and at the same time make me own a stand where accessories are being sold. I thank the federal government for the program.
You're still watching Nationwide on NTA. UNICEF is recommending deliberate investments in essential nutrition programs to save 7.3 million Nigerian women and adolescent girls suffering from undernutrition, lack of vital nutrients, and anemia. This was proposed in UNICEF's new global report on the day Nigeria joins countries across the globe to mark 2023 International Women's Day. Olusheye Adiagbo brings us details. This report will come in the course of the bulletin. Now, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development is empowering widows as part of activities to mark the International Women's Day. Ruth Aguilera reports that about 100 women in the Federal Capital Territory are being empowered with a token to ease their burden.
They all share different stories on how they became widows, but the bottom line is they all need one form of assistance because standing alone can be tough. For Sybil Solomon, who has been a widow for 4 years, she only has one wish.
I wish I could bring him back because it's not easy, you staying with the children alone.
Sybil, like these other widows, have vacuums created by their circumstances. This is why the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development is lending its arm of empowerment to them to commemorate the International Women's Day.
The International Women's Day is a global day for us to join voices with people around the world and shout our message of equal rights. There is need to recognize the plight of the widows who work tirelessly to stand for themselves. The unique experiences and needs of widows must be brought to the forefront, with their voices leading the way.
A token of 30,000 naira each was given as part of commitment towards alleviating their plight.
And for them to even remember us, we thank them, and God will bless them for us.
I'll use the money I get to buy millet to do pap business.
No doubt, it is a day to celebrate womanhood in solidarity and be hopeful for the light at the end of the tunnel. In Abuja, Ruth Aguilera, NTA News.
The Beijing Conference of 1995 is said to have given Nigerian women the impetus to fully participate in politics on the return to democratic rule in 1999. What has been the outcome of the renewed push for active participation, especially in the legislature, which is a fulcrum of democracy? National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports on the performance of women in the recently concluded National Assembly polls.
4 years since the return to democracy, Nigeria's 469-member bicameral legislature has witnessed low women performance in each election cycle. From 1999, the number of women candidates that secure seats to the National Assembly has hovered between 2 to 5%. Attempts to have increased women representation through constitution amendments at the National Assembly and the larger political space failed. Both the Senate and the House of Representatives voted against the bill seeking to create 111 special seats for women in the National Assembly. Bill to grant 35% political party positions and 35% in the cabinet. In the recently concluded National Assembly elections, it was another poor outing for the female folk. From the results declared so far, less than 20 women clinched the seats in both the Senate and the House of Representatives. Among the casualties is the only woman principal officer in the 9th Assembly, who is the Deputy Majority Whip at the House in Kiruka, Onyejocha.
Looking at other crimes in Africa, like Rwanda and others, they had it part of their constitution, so it made it easy for them to have that number. The political parties are not bringing them more on the table, and also another reason could be even the women themselves. Some women are afraid, not like they don't want to come out, but some of them are afraid because of the volatile nature of what happens in the political space out there, and so some of them are afraid, and then also the volatility of that space, and then also issues of resources.
Record has, however, been set by some women lawmakers like Khadija Bukar, who has won consecutively for 5 times, and Benue, who is returning to the House for the 4th time.
In politics, you know, you win some and you lose some all the time. So go in with a clear mind. As long as you're relevant and the people like you, you can sustain yourself in politics, because politics is all about people. Without people, there will be no politics. You need to be around when people need you. You need to be around to assist people, to listen to them, to counsel them, to actually be involved in their lives, not look down on them and, you know, use them only when you need them during the political elections and things like that, but always be there for them.
Breaking the glass ceiling may be gradual, and women are not letting up in the spirit of never say never. With the record of Patricia Ete as a former speaker, women remain hopeful that someday women lawmakers might again occupy the seats of the presiding officers in either the green or the red chamber. Lami Ali, NTA News.
Thank you, Lami, for that report. And the senator representing Adama Central at the National Assembly, Aishatu Dahiru Hamid Binani, has shared skills acquisition kits to youth in Adamawa State to ensure a productive society. Afsatu Abdul Hamid Dembos reports that the empowerment drive is in collaboration with the National Directorate of Employment.
Fisheries had been trained on plumbing, automobile, carpentry, among others, were given working tools based on their respective skills. The beneficiaries, who were full of joy, thanked the senator for her kind gesture, promising to utilize the items judiciously.
We promise to utilize the items effectively.
Senator Binani said the empowerment is aimed at reducing idleness and enhancing their economic status, urged the beneficiaries to make good use of the tools to uplift the standard of their living and create wealth.
Throughout my tenure to this moment, at least I can confidently say we have empowered over 20,000 people.
Items distributed include 105 automobile tools, 111 carpentry tools, and 178 plumbing tools. In Yola, Nafisatu Abdulhamid Dembos, NTA News.
Away from youth empowerment, the People's Democratic Party has maintained its position that INEC bypassed all the tests and procedures provided by the Electoral Act 2022 for the declaration of results, including announcements and declaration of only results that were transmitted directly from polling units to the INEC server, and to review the results in the event of disputes and objections as to the correctness and consistency of the collated results. The party restates its stance at a media briefing on INEC's intention to reconfigure the beavers ahead of Saturday's governorship and state assembly elections. Timothy Yusuf brings us details.
PDP is a law-abiding party.
The National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, Debo Ologunagba, restating the party's resolve to remain law-abiding at all times. The PDP states its reasons for approaching the court to obtain an order directing INEC to, among other things, grant it and its presidential candidate unrestrained access to carry out a forensic examination of material and evidence to get redress at the election tribunal.
But INEC, he explained, is in court to file a motion requesting the court to allow it to reconfigure the beavers' devices, which according to him could erase relevant information contained in the machines.
Furthermore, Section 65(1)(c) of the Electoral Act 2022 states as follows. 65(1). The decision of the returning officer shall be final on any question arising from or relating to subparagraph C, declaration of scores of candidates and the return of a candidate, provided that the Commission shall have the power within 7 days to review the declaration and return where the Commission determines that the said declaration and return was not made voluntarily or was made contrary to the provisions of the law.
The Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room has similarly raised concerns about the question of preservation of data collected during the Presidential and National Assembly elections of 25th February 2023. Situation Room requested the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to clarify to the public how it intends to ensure that data collected in the bimodal voter accreditation system BVAS used in the election will be preserved for use in the review and audit of the elections. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Ahead of the governorship and state assembly elections, the Independent Campaign Council of the All Progressives Congress is galvanizing support through the amalgamated support groups to expand the party's victory. This informed a strategic engagement among stakeholders in Abuja. Sali Ugwanara reports.
Grassroots mobilizers championing the progressive ideology to Nigerians. Director General of the Amalgamated All Progressives Congress Support Groups, Kailani Mohammed, says the team is united towards a set target, that is, the goal of winning more states.
Election has taken place, not selection. Nigerians have spoken. So, and they went to the court. Both the LP and the PDP, the court gave them a nod. Domestically, our Suajo and Sekima has been recognized. Yes. The international community has recognized this election.
The time for propaganda and show of muscles is past. We have won the election by the special grace of God. And the only way we can enjoy our victory is to humble ourselves and look at the way forward, what is ahead of us.
APC stakeholders promise to be magnanimous in victory and remain focused and instrumental on the delivery of the renewed hope agenda for a more prosperous country. In Abuja, Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
In continuation of its public enlightenment campaign on the electoral process, the National Orientation Agency has visited Karo, local government area of Nasarawa State, ahead of the governorship and state assembly elections slated for Saturday, 11th of March 2023. Kenneth Nanim tells us more.
Active participation in the electoral process is one cardinal obligation of the citizens, and the National Orientation Agency is leveraging the Saturday 11 governorship and state assembly elections to educate and sensitize the people of Karo local government area of Nasarawa State on their fundamental rights and obligations, especially in choosing their leaders.
This is the one that affects them directly. So for that reason, they are expected, and that's why we are here, to encourage them to come and participate, do your own bit, because this is your own community. This is where the decision will happen.
My advice to the community is that violence, no. Fighting, no. Killing, no. We are here to elect whom we want.
I'm giving you a 100% assurance in Karo local government entirely that we will not have a violent in election.
The people were enlightened on the 2022 Electoral Act guidelines and also urged to desist from violence, vote buying and selling, as well as other irregularities that could mar the outcome of the process. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
And reports reaching us says the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja has granted leave to the President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu to inspect the electoral materials used during the presidential election. The three-man panel of justices led by Justice Joseph Key gave the order in an application filed by the council to the President-elect. The court, in a unanimous ruling, granted Bola Tinubu's prayers. With this ruling, the President-elect, through his counsel, can access the electoral materials used during the presidential election. Photocopies of the materials can also be done by the applicants. Now, Governor Samuel Ortom of Benue State has assented to bills that seek to repeal and reenact laws of some tertiary institutions in the state. The bills were presented to him by the Deputy Speaker, Benue State House of Assembly, Christopher Adaji, at the Government House, Makurdi. Charles Abba reports.
Presented to the Governor by the Deputy Speaker, Benue State House of Assembly, Christopher Adaji, seek to repeal and reenact the retirement age of staff for Benue State Polytechnic, Ubokolo, College of Education, Kasinala, and College of Education, Oju, to 65 as against 60. Governor Samuel Ortom, who assented to the bills, averred that the development is informed by the standards set by the federal government. He noted that the State Assembly, especially the 8th and 9th Assemblies, has set a record of quick passage of bills that have positive impact on good governance. In Makurdi, Charles Abba, NTA News.
And as a latest that UNICEF is recommending deliberate investments in essential nutrition programs by Oluseyi Adiagbo, we now have visuals of that report.
Ugochi is a mother of two. She lives here in Abuja, Nigeria's capital city. Janet is unaware of what nutritional requirements are, let alone meeting aids.
Even our children don't have food to eat at home because there's no money.
The new UNICEF Global Report on Nigeria puts the number of undernourished adolescent girls and women aged 15 to 49 years at 7.3 million. This is a significant rise from 5.6 million in 2018.
With this report, UNICEF has been able to spotlight a bit on the food and nutrition crisis. The report also makes it clear that without addressing maternal undernutrition, it's going to be difficult for us to address child undernutrition.
Titled Undernourished and Overlooked, a Global Nutritional Crisis in Adolescent Girls and Women, and issued ahead of this year's International Women's Day, the report also indicates that Nigeria ranks among 12 hardest hit countries by the global food and nutrition crisis.
It's with us, and it's possible for all of us to live in a world where we're free from undernutrition.
Janet Ugochi wants empowerment for women to ensure a better future for children. In Abuja, Oluseyi Adiagbo, NTA News.
It's time to take another break, and when we return, latest in the world of sports. To stay with us.